You might absolutely love the Mario universe, but it's totally impossible to like everyone. While some characters have completely won over the fans, others make a lot of people roll their eyes hard. But at the end of the day, would you be able to say exactly who are the most loved and the most hated characters in the Short Plumbers franchise?
Hello!
Bowser. Incredible as it may seem, one of the biggest villains in the Mario franchise is also one of the characters most loved by the fans, especially after that awesome song he wrote for Peach in the 2023 movie. With his impressive look, he seems to have stepped right out of a legend. Except it's inside a world full of mushrooms and stars. Plus, Bowser isn't just about looks. He is extremely strong and leads a massive army of loyal followers, like Koopas, Goombas, and various other henchmen, who are always ready to help him out with his evil plans. And like any great video game villain, Bowser loves to do everything on a grand scale. He builds gigantic fortresses, completely filled with traps, bubbling lava, and dangerous challenges that make every single encounter with Mario feel like a true final battle. But what really makes Bowser so loved is that, even though he's the big bad guy of the story, he also has a side full of emotions. In several moments throughout the games, he goes through embarrassing situations, totally overreacts, and even stars in some really hilarious scenes. When it comes down to it, he might try to take over the world, but he is also undeniably one of the most fun and charismatic characters in the entire Mushroom Kingdom. Get ready, because what's coming up today is going to completely blow your mind. Baby Mario. Despite being a part of some really important moments in the history of the Super Mario franchise, Baby Mario ended up getting a somewhat complicated reputation among a lot of fans. The first impression he made wasn't exactly the best, especially when he showed up being carried on Yoshi's back in Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. The whole idea actually seemed pretty fun at first, but the problem is that whenever anything went wrong in the game, little Mario would start crying nonstop. And it wasn't just any regular little cry either. It was straight up one of the most annoying sound effects many gamers have ever heard. That alarm sound mixed with crying ended up getting burned into a lot of people's memories. As time went on, the character also started appearing in several other titles in the series, alongside baby versions of other characters. Except, a lot of fans really didn't vibe with this idea, feeling that the franchise already has so many interesting characters that could show up in the games instead. For them, the roster space taken up by Baby Mario could easily be used for more beloved characters or even completely new faces from the Mushroom Kingdom. Yoshi. If there is one character who conquered the fans practically the exact second he appeared in the Super Mario universe, that character is Yoshi. Ever since his debut helping Mario out, he quickly became a massive fan favorite. But the fans' affection grew even more when he got his very own epic adventure in Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. In that game, players got to see an even more heroic side to the character, showing that Yoshi isn't just a sidekick, he is also an incredible protagonist. And the most impressive thing is the absolute loyalty that Yoshi shows throughout the entire franchise. He is always willing to protect Mario from any possible danger, taking on tough enemies, getting through difficult levels, and doing all the hard work to make sure his buddy succeeds. This crazy dedication makes fans consider him one of the most adorable characters in the whole series. Besides that, in the games starring Yoshi, the gameplay changes completely in a creative and fun way, featuring unique mechanics that turn every adventure into something totally different. At the end of the day, it's not hard at all to understand exactly why Yoshi continues to be one of Mario's most beloved characters, Toad. Among so many characters in the Super Mario universe, Toad is easily one of the most cherished by the fans. Even though he's small and seemingly fragile, he always shows up ready to help Mario out on his adventures. Ever since the very first games in the Super Mario Bros. Series, Toad has been a part of the Mushroom Kingdom, usually bringing important information or helping our hero head down the right path. That classic look with the big mushroom on his head and his upbeat vibe made him an instantly recognizable character. But what really makes Toad so loved is his super energetic personality. Even when everything seems incredibly dangerous or totally chaotic, he stays optimistic and ready to lend a hand. Over time, the character got so popular that he ended up getting bigger and bigger roles in various games, proving that he isn't just a helper, but also a true adventurer. At the end of the day, Toad proves that you don't need to be a giant or super powerful to be a hero, and that sometimes all you really need is courage, enthusiasm, and a really big heart. Luigi. For a really long time, he was known purely as Mario's brother, but over the years, Luigi conquered something much bigger, the hearts of Super Mario Universe fans. A lot of gamers even say he actually has way more personality than Mario himself. While Mario tends to always be super confident and brave, Luigi is more fearful, insecure, and full of totally exaggerated reactions, which actually makes him a whole lot easier to relate to. This clumsy vibe, mixing genuine courage with a lot of comedy, makes him a character who is both hilarious and heroic that everyone just loves to follow. and his popularity grew so much that Luigi ended up getting his own solo adventures, like the famous Luigi's Mansion series, where he faces off against ghosts even while being scared half to death. The affection from the fans reached such a massive point that Nintendo decided to dedicate the entirety of 2013 to the character, creating the famous Year of Luigi, packed with several special releases and celebrations. At the end of the day, that Shire brother ended up proving that he can also be a massive hero, even if he's shaking with fear the whole way through. If you're enjoying this video, do the smart thing and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of our future videos. Bowser Jr. Even though he is the son of the Mushroom Kingdom's biggest villain, Bowser Jr. actually ended up becoming one of the most loved characters in the Super Mario franchise. Ever since his very first appearance in Super Mario Sunshine, he caught everyone's attention by being a totally different kind of antagonist. Instead of just looking menacing, Bowser Jr. has that specific attitude and is always trying to prove he can be just as scary as his dad, Bowser. This crazy mix of a bad guy with a stubborn little kid creates some really funny moments and ends up making the character super charismatic. Another reason that made fans like him so much is his highly energetic personality and his crazy ideas during the adventures. Bowser Jr. is always coming up with wild plans to defeat Mario, piloting giant mechs or inventing incredibly creative traps. Even when his plans go completely wrong, he just keeps on trying, which makes a lot of people find the character really fun and honestly even a little bit adorable. When it comes down to it, Bowser Jr. managed to achieve something super rare, being a villain that fans actually love seeing cause trouble in their Mushroom Kingdom adventures, Roselina. Among all the characters in the Super Mario universe, Roselina really stands out as one of the most loved by the fans, and that definitely didn't happen by accident. Unlike a lot of characters in the series, who generally have much simpler background stories, Roselina got a much more detailed and deeply emotional origin. In Super Mario Galaxy, players discover her story through a special storybook inside the game, which reveals incredibly important moments of her life and explains exactly how she ended up becoming the mysterious protector of the cosmos. In that book, we see that Roselina lost her mother when she was still just a little kid, and it was right after that super sad moment that she found the little Loomis and decided to take care of them as if they were her very own family. This touching backstory created a really strong emotional connection with the fans, making her quickly become super cherished by the audience. As time went on, Roselina also stopped being constantly compared to Peach, since she clearly has a completely different and unique role within the franchise. On top of that, her spatial abilities and her massive cosmic power make her one of the strongest and most fascinating characters in the entire Mario universe. Pink Gold Peach. Among the characters that generate the most complaints from fans of the Super Mario universe, Pink Gold Peach usually shows up right at the top of the list. First introduced in Mario Kart 8, she is basically just a new look for Princess Peach, but in a pinkish metallic version, and that is exactly what a lot of players really don't like. To them, it just seems like a lazy variation of Peach that doesn't bring anything genuinely new to the franchise. In practice, it's like they just took the princess and slapped a metallic filter on her, creating a version that a lot of people consider to be way more boring. Another big reason that makes Pink Gold Peach get criticized so much is that she has practically zero personality of her own. Her voice is the exact same as Peach's, the animations are incredibly similar, and her overall behavior barely changes at all. The only real difference is that weird appearance that looks like a shiny robot. Because of this, several players really feel like she ended up taking up the roster space of characters who could have been way more interesting in the game's lineup. For a lot of fans, that spot could have easily been used to bring back forgotten classic characters or add someone totally new. But at the end of the day, it just ended up being yet another version of the princess on the character selection screen, Waluigi. Among the characters who have conquered a massive amount of affection from the public, Waluigi is a really curious case. Even though he isn't one of the main protagonists of the Super Mario universe, he just keeps growing in popularity every single year. A lot of fans root for him almost as if they were actively trying to help him claim the spot he truly deserves within the franchise. He is exactly that type of character that the audience adopts and starts defending, always asking for more appearances and even his very own solo game. Part of all this empathy exists because while Wario has already had several games starring his own adventures, Waluigi seems to have been left kind of forgotten in comparison. And it was exactly this that made a lot of players build a certain connection with him. Plus, the fans absolutely love his over-the-top personality, his unmistakable voice, his iconic catchphrases, and that dramatic flair that always delivers some truly hilarious moments. At the end of the day, with all this charisma and chaotic energy, Waluigi ended up becoming one of the most fun and beloved characters in the world of Mario, even if he shows up way less than a lot of people would like. Berto. Now let's talk about a character who really divides opinions and often shows up on the most hated lists of the Super Mario universe. Berto first popped up in Super Mario Bros. 2, and ever since then, a lot of people just never really knew what to think about her. Also known as Berdetta, she has one of the weirdest designs in the entire franchise. For many fans, her look simply doesn't seem to fit very well with the rest of the characters in the Mushroom Kingdom. Another curious detail is that Berto practically doesn't speak at all. Actually, the sounds she makes can't really be understood by anyone, making her one of the few characters in the series who doesn't say a single actual word. Because of that, a lot of fans end up seeing Berto as a sort of reverse Yoshi, since the two of them have a somewhat similar shape, but with totally different personalities and functions. And to top it all off, a lot of people believe her inclusion in the franchise doesn't make much sense, almost as if she was put in there just to fill a role, like Yoshi desperately needed a girlfriend in the Mario universe and that was it. Like Bugs Bunny would say, that's all folks, or is it? We're leaving 2 more videos, so you can keep watching with us. And trust me, they're worth it. See you later.